Please subscribe for similar stories like this. Now let's get to the story. In today's video, a gang member held off a violent confrontation so I, a grandma, could finish my exercise routine. A father that can't find his son in the hospital. I don't work at this hospital. Odd context yet also exact fit for this sub. I went jogging a bit later than I had planned. Because it gets dark out so early, I've recently felt it doesn't matter if I go at 6 p.m. or 9 p.m, because either way, it will be pitch black dark. I typically jog at the local high school track if I'm going out at night because it is well maintained and has floodlights. A couple nights ago it was pretty chilly, so I was the only person present at the facility when I arrived. While I was jogging, another car pulled into the lot and it idled for a while. I didn't really pay attention. I was focused on my run and some intermittent stretches for joint pain I've been trying to keep in check. Eventually another car pulled up as well, and shortly thereafter I heard some commotion. It was far enough away that I couldn't make out exactly what was being said, but some parts were loud enough that I made out a conversation to the effect of "They've got someone out here, we've got to go." Someone followed up with "No way she works here." I wasn't really listening because it's hard to hear and I figured it didn't concern me. Then, though, a young man in a brightly colored hoodie you couldn't miss leaned over the chain link fence around the track and called out "Yo grandma." Which I ignored. You don't get my attention by addressing me that way. Eventually though, he started waving his arms, and he looked reasonably young, so I thought he might require some kind of assistance. Maybe car trouble, something of that nature. And he'd changed his tune, now calling "Ma'am, hey ma'am, excuse me." So I approached from a safe distance and asked what he wanted. He said, "What are you doing? You work here? You a teacher or something?" I told him no, I actually am a teacher, but not at the high school. He said, "Oh, so you're just exercising then?" I nodded and he replied, "Okay, alright, about how long you planning on staying then?" I told him maybe another 20 minutes, and he said that would be fine and he didn't mean to rush me, he was just trying to get a sense of things. I thought that was really odd but didn't want to just walk right to my car, thinking of the earlier commotion, in case something was brewing in the parking lot that I'd overlooked. I was going much slower now in order to overhear what was being said in the lot to determine the best course of action from there, and caught one of the boys saying, "No way. She don't even care. She not with the school. She wasn't even looking over here till you had to go over there." With the boy in the bright hoodie responding, "20 minutes. What if it was your grandma? Would you want her here for this? Fucking chill for 20. The other boy said he just wanted to settle it. But the boy in the bright hoodie whom I'd spoken with said something inaudible to him and he got back in the car. Even though they were ostensibly planning to stay in their cars for the full 20 minutes, this was obviously all enough for me to decide to cut the workout short. As I was turning onto the street, all the boys rapidly got out of their cars. I headed home and didn't really think about it again until a friend who works in administration at the high school called the next day to ask if I was alright. I told her I was fine and asked what the reason for the call was. She said she was just checking in because she knows I run on the track at all hours, and there had been a gang confrontation last night. Unconfirmed reports suggest a drug-related dispute, where a boy had been stabbed. I'm horrified and really hope it wasn't the boy I talked to. I told her everything that I had seen and asked if she wanted me to give a statement to anyone or something like that. She said she'd let the people handling it know and they'd contact me if necessary. I'm a bit shaken up, but more so for the kids and their circumstances than for whatever I was almost caught in the middle of. I'll definitely stick to running around the neighborhood for a while. I recently found this sub, and after reading some very entertaining stories, I decided to share one with you. I don't know if it fits this sub perfectly, as I was working at the hospital, but not for the hospital and not at the ward it took place. This happened back in 2009 when I was fresh out of the German equivalent to high school. As was still custom back then, I was conscripted. But since I already knew that my professional future lies in the medical field, I decided to serve my country not in the military, but with Zivildienst. I looked it up. It apparently translates best to compulsory community service, as that usually means that you get to work in a hospital, in a nursing home or similar institutions. But and that is crucial here, I didn't work for the hospital but just at the hospital, as I was technically serving the Federal Republic of Germany. As I was hoping, I got to work at an intensive care unit at the University Hospital in Berlin. It was a great year and very likely the biggest reason for me to go to nursing school afterwards. Anyways, back to the story. My tasks were to help the nurses, fetch things for the doctors, fill up the cabinets in the patient rooms, stuff like that. Often that meant that I was going through the hospital, and anyone who has been to Berlin has most likely seen the big building close to Berlin Central Station. That was the one I was walking through, and while walking through it meant that I was getting a good feeling for where the different wards and centers lie. It didn't mean that I knew every little detail. One day when I was on my way back from the blood bank where I had to get some FFP, fresh frozen plasma, for a critically ill patient, I saw an elderly lady standing a little helpless in front of some elevators. She asked me if I could point her towards a specific ward, and while being in a rush, I just did it because I knew where it was, in fact right around the corner. Right after pointing her towards her goal, a man, in his 50s I guess, asked me where his son was. He told me his name and said that he would like to know his location. I said that I can't help him with that, I'm just a zivvy, short for Zivildienstleistender. The information is right by the main entrance. He insisted that I should help him. I said that I can't, I have stuff to deliver and besides, I don't work at the wards here, I'm just a zivvy and I'm doing deliveries for one of the ICUs. At that point he actually grabbed my arm and told me that he wouldn't let go of me, unless I help him now. I tried to explain to him that I don't know who his son is and also don't know where, since there are several wards with over 1,000 beds in this hospital, so I can't possibly know every single one of the patients being there. I can't remember exactly what else was said, but I got my arm free, told him to fuck off, not professional, but I was 19 and didn't get paid enough for shit like that, and walked quite fast towards my ward. I thought that was the end of it, but he followed me and not just towards the ICU but into it. Normally visitors would have to ring a bell and wait in a waiting room, he just stormed into it right after me, yelling profanities. That obviously caught the attention of the staff, which ended in the staff nurse, some other nurses and some doctors coming to see what was going on. They asked him to leave, but he insisted that he should get help to find his son and I should be disciplined for my unprofessional behavior. The staff nurse explained to him that the information is right by the main entrance and that she won't discipline me because I was doing an important delivery of blood products, and it wasn't my responsibility to show visitors around in the hospital, as I worked on the ICU and not for the information desk. That was when he settled for the wish to file a complaint about me at the hospital, to which my staff nurse just sighed and said that if he wants to file a complaint about me, he would have to address that complaint to the Bundesamt für Zivildienst, since she isn't employing me, but I'm serving my community service. Also, if he doesn't leave right now, she would call security and he wouldn't be seeing his son because she would take care that he would be forbidden to enter the hospital afterwards. That was when he finally realized that the information right by the main entrance would be the easier alternative to harassing me. This one is a fun one, no crazy Karen involved, just a very, very tired woman. Once upon a time I pricked myself with the needle while putting some stitches on a patient. Sometimes SHT happens, so as safety protocols go, I needed to get myself tested for all blood-related diseases and get the preventive medication. For reasons unknown to me till this day, I couldn't do this on my own hospital but the one approved by my works insurance. An hour away. But no big deal, I went there and oh my god the ER was full. 6 p.m. Friday night. It takes an hour for me to be seen by a colleague who orders all my lab tests and then sends me to the waiting area, which were actually some chairs in the middle of the observation unit. As I told you, this place was in the limits of its capacity, so apart from there being no empty chairs, there was actually no space where I could stand still without being a hindrance to the people working. So I ended standing right in front of the nurse's desk, waiting for my name to be called. Little detail I forgot to mention until now, all this happened with me still wearing my scrubs, which have Dr. Foucault Nolis name, general practitioner embroidered on the chest pocket. After some time a middle-aged nurse, who I will call Nurse Twyla, came to me full force. She looked tired, like on the verge of fainting tired, wild hair, messy uniform, the stethoscope hanging out of her pocket, but with that energy burst you have just right before you collapse. The next words are obviously reconstructed, but I am trying to be exact. Twyla, hi doctor, goodness, what a day we are having, am I right? Me, not understanding, thinking she just wants to talk, sure, this place looks packed. Twyla, and that's nothing. Let me tell you all you are going to deal with tonight, me in my mind, sorry what? Before I could answer, Twyla takes out her chart and starts describing all the patients in the unit. Twyla, so the patient in the O1 is just recovering from a heart attack, O2 is probably a broken hip, we are waiting the x-ray, O3, O3 is a case, if I say so myself, complete renal failure, I can't believe he is still alive, but moving on. Me, sorry, Nurse Twyla? I looked the name in the workage she had on the neck. Twyla, yes doctor. Any doubts? Me, yeah, you see I am not a doctor, or well, I am a doctor, but at St. Some Guy's Name Hospital, not here. Here I am just another patient. She gives me this confused wide-eyed stare, that lasts way too long. The only comparison I can think of is a robot that has suddenly glitched and is trying to process its surroundings. After maybe 30 seconds, she snaps out of it and turns red of embarrassment. Twyla, OMG. I am so sorry, doctor. I mean, sir, I mean, doctor. She literally said that. No paraphrasing here. I am so sorry for bothering you. We are having so many new staff members these days, it's hard to keep track of them all. Have you seen by any chance the other head nurse? A tall woman, blonde hair, with a white scrub? Me, I think she went that way. I pointed my finger to where I saw the blonde nurse go 10 minutes before. Twyla, thanks. And again, I'm so sorry. After that, poor nurse Twyla went looking for her coworker and I never saw her again. But I hope she got a well-deserved sleep after the hell day she was having. Thanks for reading, guys. TL, doctor, I went to the ER to get some tests done while still wearing my scrubs. A burnout nurse told me all the patients' diagnoses because she thought I worked there. Thank you for watching this video and we will see you in the next one. Bye.